G'day, Michaela.
Hello.
Michaela, I have a question for you. How many emergency exits are there on the Carnival Spirit, and where are they?
Well, the whole boat is a exit, isn't it? Like, you just go overboard in a bloody lifeboat, don't you?
I don't know. Was there a safety briefing?
Well, yeah, but all they did was teach you how to put a life jacket on. And standing in the hot sun, you're thirsty, no one listens, everyone's complaining. It's big of a waste of time. But anyway, yes, so I know how to put a life jacket on.
Did they open the bar? Did they open the bar straight after the briefing?
Yes. Very quickly. We were thirsty.
I reckon it's a ploy. It's a marketing strategy. Exactly.
Welcome to the Tradies Business Show, helping you get off the tools and into true business ownership, so you can spend more time doing the things that matter most. Now, here are your hosts, Warwick Bidwell and Michaela Clark.
And welcome to the Tradies Business Show. So it's been a little while since Michaela and I convened for an episode. Michaela, as you may have guessed from the intro, has been away floating around the seven seas on the Carnival Spirit, sunning yourself and drinking daiquiris or something. What was your cocktail of choice on the holiday, Michaela, on the cruise?
Well, I don't know if our listeners remember, I'm a big Kahlua and milk drinker. And on the boat, you actually get a double for $5 extra. So I was actually drinking double Kahluas and milk.
Wow.
And then got over the milk, so I just ordered them in like shorter glasses. So still doubles, just less milk.
Did you just get to having straight Kahlua by the end of it, so you weren't drinking so much milk?
Just about. But, hey, I won the blackjack tournament at the casino.
That's awesome.
That's like the highlight.
I saw that on social media.
Yes.
You won a substantial amount of money, which probably paid for one night's drink spill?
Yeah, honestly, it was about one night's drink spill. But, the funny thing was, like, I didn't know what I was doing, and I happened to get first qualifier and highest qualifier, so I won a bottle of champers. And so everyone thinks I'm all of a sudden this blackjack guru. So they're all watching me and going, I knew that you knew what you were doing. I think, I got no idea. I'm just blind. But anyway, and then I ended up winning the final and was crowned champion. So, what can I say?
They picked you for a pool shark.
Yes, yeah.
They thought you were sharking the whole thing.
Yeah, and so then people started sitting next to me and betting the same as me. And I'm just thinking, this is not going. Yeah, this isn't going to go well.
That's true.
But I had a good time. However, I must say though, Warwick, that I peaked too early because we booked a holiday in early December, last week of schools because it's cheaper. So I took the kids out a week early. And boy, it's just right. It's December off. I've got no motivation now. So don't book your holidays too early.
You're done.
I'm done.
So you've had the holiday to stop burnout, and in actual fact, you've probably caused worse burnout by the sounds of it.
Yeah. Yeah, because we'll come back and it's like 2 weeks till Christmas, and it's like, what do we do? And now the kids are bored. It's only second day of holidays, and they're already bored out of their brain because, we did all the good stuff in the first week of the holidays, which makes it 7 weeks of school holidays. So that was good planning, wasn't it? Bugger the cheap fares next time. So we've got the kids home for 7 weeks. We've been home like a couple of days and I'm already over it. And you probably will hear their wonderful voices in the background as we record today.
Yes, and Michaela, you and I are not sitting in the same room for a change, so our listeners might also hear the internet getting a bit choppy at your end because you've probably got 17 different devices all running off the broadband at the moment.
I have, and the problem...
Trying to keep them all happy.
That's it, and the problem is if I get them off, they're too noisy. But if I keep them on, they're quiet, but we get bad internet. So I'm not really sure what to do with this problem. It's too hot to go outside, they've told me. It's
a conundrum, isn't it?
Oh, it's just like, who made school holidays this long? Seriously.
So how many days of school holidays left, Michaela? How many days of school holidays left?
Well, we're into like the third official day.
Too many.
School holidays, so I think we've got like 5.5 weeks or something, and I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know. They're just like usually they're really,
sorry
really
for you.
well. They're really good, but I think that we've gone overseas. We've shown them a whole new way of living and a great life and adventures, and now they're like sitting in front of the iPad all day or watching the TV just doesn't excite them anymore. What was I thinking?
No, there's no shuffleboard and pool volleyball or something. Whatever you did.
Well, see, they go to the kids club, so we don't even see them for the 8 days. So another benefit, yeah. So yeah, we've actually got to see them now. So maybe that's the problem.
Yep. So I guess it begs the question of how to, not just how to survive the school holidays, because no doubt we've got a lot of listeners that are hoping to take some time out with family and have a bit of downtime and enjoy the fruits of their labour. They've been working hard all year, and it's not long to go now before the fat man tries to force his way into your house, and hopefully leaves more stuff under the tree than he takes. But it really does. It's something that rolls around every year, and I guess as a father of one child, and sadly I don't actually spend a heck of a lot of time with my daughter anymore since my marriage ended last year. So I'm sort of on the other side of the coin, where I'm like, gee, I wish I could have more time with my kid. And anybody who's got kids at home is like, oh, when will school holidays be over? So it's kind of funny, isn't it? We perhaps, I mean, it's easy for someone like me to sit here and feel like those of you with kids at home that you're finding it a little bit much over school holidays. I feel like you're taking it for granted. But I think it's hard for us to keep that perspective, Michaela, when we're sort of, we're used to our own scenarios, and the same goes in our businesses as well. I think with staff and, the way we do things in our business, until we step out of that and try and either walk in someone else's shoes or stand and look at it from a different perspective, I think it's really hard to make changes until you find a way to do that.
That's right. And look, I joke around about the kids, but I'm very grateful that I do get to work from home and I can be home for school holidays. I know a lot of working parents find this really hard. Like, what do they do with their kids for 6 weeks? And, I am joking. However, I'm used to having from 8 a.m. until 4 a.m. to myself in the house every day. And so I plan accordingly. And now all of a sudden, you've got no time at all. So I think what it comes down to is really having, and I fall into this trap every time, of realistic expectations about what you're going to get done during this time.
Yeah.
And I think I always overestimate how much I'll get done. Because, you do want to go and spend time with them as well and do stuff and get out of the house. So not only is there a lot of distractions happening, but there's also, you do want to spend that quality time with them while you have it available. So I think it's planning appropriately, letting your clients and suppliers and everyone perhaps know that you're taking some downtime. I love using out of office as a good way to set expectations and tell people what you're up to so they can expect a reasonable reply. So all those types of things that you do when you go away is sort of, I like to call it light duties. And I've really come to the conclusion that, I think I actually need a break now till Christmas and the New Year. So usually I like to go out. It's a bit of downtime. I'll get all those things that I didn't get done during the year done. Those big one-day, Sunday things.
Yep.
You get so busy that you don't get to during the year and do some planning and creating, and it's just like, I think I'm done. I just think I need a really good break.
Yeah. And I probably have a tendency as, a single parent with only one kid, part-time sort of hours with my daughter during those holiday periods. I tend to be overly optimistic about what I think I'm going to fit into my time off. And I've done that even before I separated and my life changed, where I'd have a week or two off over Christmas and I'd think, okay, well, we'll get all the crazy stuff out of the way with Christmas Day, Boxing Day and all that, and then there's New Year's Day and the recovery from that. But then the in-between times, I'd be thinking, I'm going to get this done and I'll do that. And I've got all this time available. And I find I'm not the only one that does that, where we end up creating more busyness and more pressure during our time off where we should actually be taking time out. And I'm thinking that perhaps our listeners can have a bit of a rethink, or should have a bit of a rethink about just what have you got in mind for that holiday period and for your break, to make sure that it is actually a break. And I mean, downtime doesn't have to be laying on a beanbag in front of the TV or on a banana lounge by the pool. But I think we need to get better, especially as tradies and tradie wives. We have to get better at scheduling or allowing ourselves still time, where maybe it is laying back and reading a book or catching up on episodes of the Tradies Business Show, but not trying to stuff too much into the holidays.
I'm sure people have better things to do.
Oh, I don't know, Michaela. I actually had a wingman client, poke her finger into my breastbone this week and say, "You guys haven't done a new episode for a while." I was like, no, we've been releasing episodes. And she said, "No, here." And she gave me her phone with the podcast on it. And I said, "No, we've definitely released since October." Anyway, it turned out her phone wasn't updating for some reason. So, she was really disappointed that we hadn't put up a new episode for a while. So we've got our followers.
Mm.
I think...
Or follower.
Stalker. But yeah, like, downtime needs to be downtime. And people can probably hear that my voice is not its normal self. I got struck down with a bit of a virus more than a week ago, and that was off the back of actually taking some time out. And that can happen sometimes, when we stop, and I think a lot of people can identify with this, is when we stop, often that's when we get sick. It's kind of when we let the defences down. And I think it's because we're not used to doing that we get a little bit crook, The bugs come and grab us because, like, hang on, he's standing still or she's standing still. Let's grab them now before they move again. And I think that's a symptom of actually not doing regular enough downtime, because we get so wound up and so highly strung that when we do stop, we actually end up getting sick.
Yeah, and I know you had some clients that recently went to Africa, I think, for a number of weeks and completely offline. So how did they go? I know they're back now, but how did they go sort of having a really good break from the business?
Yeah, so that was a momentous occasion, really, and I don't want to ham it up too much, but those guys went away for almost a month from their business. And they did go to South Africa, so internet was a bit patchy, and we just put a plan in place for them to go and actually have a holiday. Now, they still had to do payroll and that sort of stuff remotely, but honestly, the time impost of that was so small for the fact that they actually went away for almost a whole month. Of course, they had me there, dropping in to run the team meetings and meet with their manager and that sort of stuff, so it wasn't completely cut off, but the reality was they had very little to do with the business for that time. They had a record month in income and revenue in the business, and mostly the team just sorted everything out. So I literally got a text message from the husband this morning to say he's feeling a bit lost in the business because he doesn't actually have that much to do anymore.
Well, isn't that interesting that actually forcing themselves to go out of it can actually, I guess, some people say that I've got to do that and I've got to do this, I've got to be there, and I get all these interruptions and I can't possibly put time aside to work on certain things. But, here he's actually shown that by going out of the business that it's all in his head sometimes, that he actually does need to be there every day and available every minute of the day also. Mm. That, you sometimes can just trust in the processes that you've already put in place.
Yep. I think we make ourselves busy, or we justify why we need to be there. And I think we just get in these habits, You think about working for a whole year in or on your business, and that becomes a habit. So to then have this period where you don't need to be there. Seriously, don't need to be there. I think it's really hard to actually change that, and we have, I guess a lot of us in business go through probably what you would consider to be withdrawals, and so we tend to create situations that require us to still be involved.
It's a bit of a safety blanket, isn't it? So that we do feel valued and, latch onto something because we don't know what it's like to perhaps make it easier for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't we have to, work hard?
Yep, and so that's what I would say with taking a break is perhaps, make a list of what it is that you do on a day-to-day basis in your business and allocate those tasks to somebody else. And that was really what my clients did before they went to South Africa, is we put that plan in place so that we looked at the key tasks that they did need to carry out and that they were involved in, and we just had a look at reallocating those to other team members in the business, putting a procedure in place for some of it. They use technology a fair bit, so that helps them out a lot. But, just actually put a plan in place so you can have a break and not having to, I guess, get sucked back into the vortex, as we often talk about.
Yeah, and I think it is important that it is okay to do nothing. I know I struggle with that. I always think I've got to be doing something, but I do think there's value in just sitting or whatever your guilty pleasure is actually, enjoying it. Maybe it's some binge watching on Netflix, or it's fishing, or it's fixing up your old car, or whatever it is actually having some time doing what you enjoy, guilt-free, as well as, being present with your loved ones as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, look, I think, and you kind of, I think you got a bit crook coming back from a holiday as well, which is fairly common, and you've been overseas, probably drinking some questionable cocktails and rubbing shoulders with some interesting people, but it's quite a common thing. I think you really need to plan to have some proper downtime and sleep good and interrupt some of those old patterns. Otherwise, I think it does really come around and bite you on the backside.
It does. Now, what can also bite you on the backside, Warwick, is not having systems in place.
Yeah.
And you can easily fall into the trap of making next year like this year. Can you please hang on while I shout at my child? Pause, please, listeners. Just hang on.
We will wait for you, Michaela.
Just give me 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Right, we've got 5 minutes to wrap this up, Warwick. The kids want their Minecraft.
Oh, dear, oh dear.
So, listeners, now, what I was going to say was, I was talking about systems and planning, and something that would help you with that is, of course, technology. And we are currently sponsored by Bridge, which is a great little app. Do you like my segue?
I think that was awesome, Michaela, and completely unplanned because we haven't spoken to each other for about 3 weeks.
Yes, so we're very proud to be partnering up with Bridge at this time, bridgeat.com, and it's a great job management app that invoices, does quotes. But the thing about it is it's really easy to use, so there's downtime. You don't have to spend days and hours trying to learn a new program to teach your team or yourself, so you can actually go into the new year ready to go. So check that out. There's a free 14-day trial. You don't need to put your credit card in. You can go in and have a little play. And if you're a Tradies Business Toolkit member, you can get a 90-day guarantee. So after 90 days, if you're still not happy, you can get your money back. But it's like hardly anything a month. So make sure you check that out.
Yeah, it's so cheap and such a simple way to streamline your business and allow yourself to have a break. So definitely go check that out, bridgeapp.com.au, or hit the Tradies Business Show page. Make sure you also look at the toolkit, as Michaela said, and have a fantastic week planning for some time off over Chrissy.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Saru.
You've been listening to the Tradies Business Show with Warwick Bidwell and Michaela Clark. Want to get off the tools and into true business ownership? Find out how at tradiesbusinessshow.com.